Hello! Pizza Packs here, and we're back with Throwback Thursday, episode number 52. We've done this for a whole year now. This week, we have the finalist from Berlin World Championships from August 2003. That would be Daniel Zink. So let's see. Daniel Zink, World Champion. Daniel Zink's white, blue, green Wake deck is a control deck at heart. Once the powerful enchantment Mirari's Wake is in play, the deck produces more mana, draws more cards, counters more spells, and makes more soldiers than opponents can possibly handle. Very nice. So let's take a look at this. Oh, these are mixed up. One moment. I am going to pause and correct that. All right, and we're back. So, Daniel Zink's Wake deck. Take a look at what's in here. So, in the main deck, we have 1 Circular Logic from Torment, 3 Compulsion from Torment, 3 Cunning Wish from Judgment, 2 Decree of Justice from Scourge, 4 Deep Analysis from Torment, 4 Mana Leak from 8th Edition, 1 Mirari from Odyssey, 3 Mirari's Wake from Judgment, 3 Moments Peace from Odyssey, 3 Renewed Faith from Onslaught, 2 Vengeful Dreams from Torment, 4 Wrath of God from 8th Edition. We have the lands. We have 2 Elfheim Palace from 8th Edition, 2 Flooded Strand from Onslaught, 4 Forests from 8th Edition, 7 Islands from 8th Edition, 4 Crimson Verge from Judgment, 4 Plains from 8th Edition, 4 Skycloud Expanse from Odyssey. And then for the sideboard, we have 3 Anarid Brushhopper from Judgment, 1 Circular Logic from Torment, 2 Exalted Angels from Onslaught, 1 Hunting Pack from Scourge, 1 Croson Reclamation from Judgment, 1 Ray of Distortion from Odyssey, 3 Ray of Revelation from Judgment, 1 Renewed Faith from Odyssey, 1 Vengeful Dreams from Torment, and 1 Wing Shards from Scourge. Alright, so let's take a look at the sideboard. We can pull in some for that. So we have Anarid Brushhopper, 1 green white for a 3/4 beast, where you can discard 2 cards from your hand to remove Anarid Brushhopper from the game, return it to play under its owner's control at end of turn. So this was a good way to protect it from removal and just keep it around. And it's a nice 3/4 body for 3, which is definitely under rate. Or under cost, rather. Above rate. Circular Logic, 2 and a blue for an instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your graveyard. Oh, sorry. Anarid Brushhopper's art is by Arnie Sweckel. And then Circular Logic's art is by Anthony S. Waters. So counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your graveyard. And then Madness for blue. So you may pay it for its madness cost anytime you discard it from your hand. And that synergizes very well with the Anarid Brushhopper and other discard outlets in the deck. Next up we have Exalted Angel with art by Michael Sutphin. Michael Sutphin, sorry. 4 white for a 4/5 angel with flying. And whenever it deals damage, you gain that much life. That is not lifelink, this is a separate trigger. Then it has Morph 2 white. So you may play it face down for 3 mana and then turn it face up at any time for its Morph cost. This is if you play for its Morph cost, that is a fantastic rate for a creature, especially of this size. Even its regular cost was a great rate at the time for a creature. We have 2 Exalted Angels. Next up we have Hunting Pack with art by Jim Nelson. 5 green, or Jim Nelson. 5 green instant, put a 4/4 beast creature token into play. And then it has Storm. So when you play it, copy it for each spell played before this turn. This could make you easily 5 or 6 beasts in this deck. And it's an instant, so you could also play it on your opponent's turn after they've cast all their spells. And then you just surprise them with, hey, a bunch of beasts. We have 1 copy. Next up, Croson Reclamation. this card is a little worse than when this was actually in standard. So at the time, there was no Exile Zone yet. So cards removed from the game could be gotten with things like Cunning Wish. You could also loop Cunning Wishes to make Hunting Pack better. But Curse and Reclamation, 1 and a green, instant. Target player shuffles up to 2 target cards from his or her graveyard into his or her library. Flashback, 1 and a green. So one of the tricks you would use with this is you would flash it back, put 2 Cunning Wishes back into your deck, and then use the Cunning Wish to go get this, play it, put cards back in, flash it back, flash back in, or put back in a Cunning Wish, cycle it from there. This is art by Gary Rudell. Next up, Ray of Distortion from Odyssey. Art by Carl Critchlow. 3 and a white, instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment, flashback 4 white. Just nice later game removal that you can use twice. Next up, Ray of Revelation. Art by Doug Chaffee. This is from Judgment. 1 and a white, instant, destroy target enchantment, and then flashback for a green. Still one of the most efficient enchantment removal cards out there. Still occasionally sees play in Pauper because of that. We have 3 copies of Ray of Revelation. Except Renewed Faith. Art by Dave Dorman. It's from Onslaught. 2 and a white, instant, gain 6 life. And then cycle 1 and a white to, of course, draw a card. And then whenever you cycle it, you gain 2 life. We have 1 copy. Except Vengeful Dreams. Art by Mark Tedden. This is from Torment. White, instant. As an additional cost to pay it, you may discard X cards from your hand. And then remove X target attacking creatures from the game. It's a great way to fill up your graveyard, get cards out of your hand, and remove attacking creatures from the game. It's fantastic removal. This was our Settle the Wreckage before Settle the Wreckage. And then next up we have Wing Shards, which is sometimes a better version of Vengeful Dreams. It really depends. But art by Darren Bader. This is from Scourge. 1 white, instant. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature. Storm. So, could be real good. And that's it for the sideboard. So let's see. Collect all 4 World Championship decks. Relive the excitement of the 2003 World Championships with these 4 commemorative decks. Daniel Zink, World Champion. That's this deck. Daniel Zink's white, blue, green Wake deck is a control deck at heart. Once the powerful enchantment Mirari's Wake is in play, the deck produces more mana, draws more cards, counters more spells, and makes more soldiers than opponents can possibly handle. Then, previous episode, we had Dave Humphreys, semifinalist. Dave the Humphreys blue-green deck combines many of the Madness cards from the Torment set, including Basking Root Walla, Arrogant Worm, and Circular Logic, which with discard enablers like Aquamoeba and Wild Mongrel for tremendous effect. Then a couple weeks ago, we did Peter Kruger, quarterfinalist. Hometown hero Peter Kruger's Animator deck was a nightmare for his opponents. The black-red deck excels at putting scary monsters into the graveyard and then bringing them into play. And then the first one out of the 2003 decks that we did was Wolfgang Etter, quarterfinalist. Wolfgang Etter introduced the black-red Goblin Bidding deck to the world of the European Championships. The typical Goblin Horde deck gets an incredible mid-game play in Patriarch's Bidding, where it brings every goblin into the graveyard back into play. Nice. Right. Then we have our artist proof cards. Blank. Daniel Zink, World Champion. Daniel Zink, a student from Bochum, Germany, played the control deck that defined the year's World Championships. The white, blue, green Wake deck is named after the powerful enchantment that's the heart of the deck. Once Mirari's Wake is in play, the deck produces more mana, draws more cards, counters more spells, and makes more soldiers than opponents can possibly handle. Zink had help from fellow German and 2002-2003 Player of the Year, Kai Bude, in adapting the Wake deck to the post-8th edition environment. Nice. Alright, now for the main deck itself. So we've got Circular Logic. Art by Anthony S. Waters. This is from Torment. 2-0 blue. Instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 for each card in your graveyard. Madness for a blue. Some Compulsion. A fantastic draw engine at this time. Art by Christopher Moliere. Also from Torment. 1 in a blue. Enchantment. You can pay 1 in a blue to discard a card, draw a card. And then 1 in a blue, sacrifice Compulsion, draw a card. Seems kind of silly nowadays, but this was actually really good at the time. We have 3 copies of Compulsion. Cunning Wish. So keep in mind, at the time, Cunning Wish much stronger than it is today. There was not an Exile Zone yet. So an instant that was removed from the game, so put into exile, you could get with Cunning Wish, including other Cunning Wishes. So this was a great way to build up Storm. It was a great way to like recycle things like Frozen Reclamation. The rules update to include the Exile Zone broke the wishes in a bad way. So Cunning Wish, art by Jim Nelson. This is from Judgment. 2 in a blue, instant. Choose an instant card you own from outside the game, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Remove Cunning Wish from the game. Now what it says is, choose an instant card you own from outside the game, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Exile Cunning Wish. That makes a difference, because the Exile Zone is still part of the game. So that is very important. And in a competitive setting, you would be getting from your sideboard, not your total collection. We have 3 copies of Cunning Wish. Decree of Justice. Art by Adam Rex. This is from Scourge. XX2 white sorcery. Put X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying into play, cycling 2 and a white. When you cycle Decree of Justice, you may pay X. If you do, put X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. This card still sees extensive play in premodern. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. It recently was reprinted into modern. Unfortunately, it does not see any play in modern as far as I know. But still just an absolutely fantastic card. And one of the better win conditions for the deck. We have 2 copies of Decree of Justice. Some Deep Analysis. This pairs really well with the Renewed Faiths, so that you can just keep drawing cards. Also, with the way Cunning Wish worked at the time, after you did the flashback for this, and remove the card from the game, you could go and get it back with Cunning Wish. So you just had this massive draw engine that you could just keep churning through your deck with. But Deep Analysis, art by Darren Bader, also from Torment. 3 in a blue, sorcery, target player draws 2 cards. Flashback, 1 in a blue, pay 3 life. Also, it wasn't super uncommon to just draw deck your opponent by forcing them to draw with Deep Analysis. So we had 4 copies of Deep Analysis. Next up, Mana Leak. This is the 8th edition printing. Art by Christopher Rush. It's the same art as the Stronghold printing, which is the original one. 1 in a blue, instant, counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. I really think they should bring Mana Leak back into Standard. We have 4 copies of Mana Leak. Mirari, art by Donato Giancola from Odyssey. It's actually the Odyssey symbol, funny enough. 5 mana legendary artifact. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 3. If you do, put a copy of that spell onto the stack. You may choose new targets for that copy. Oh, also something I should point out. This is actually my these are all my copies at this point, but this is my copy of this deck that I bought in 2003, 2004, like right when it came out. I've owned this particular deck for quite some time. All right, next up, Mirari's Wake. The card the deck is named after. From Judgment. Art by David Martin. But 3 green-white enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Great for your soldier tokens. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. So basically it just increases your mana. And you have 3 copies, so you can really go buck wild with that. It is the main advantage engine of the deck, because you just make so much mana with it out. Next up, Moment's Peace. If you play Pauper Turbo Fog, you should be very familiar with this card. It's from Odyssey, art by Rebecca Guai, one of my favorite pieces she ever did. 1 and a green, instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn, flashback, 2 and a green. Just, this stops a lot of decks in their tracks. We have 3 copies of Moment's Peace. Next up, Renewed Faith from Onslaught, art by Dave Dorman. 2 and a white instant, you gain 6 life. Cycling, 1 and a white, and when you cycle Renewed Faith, you may gain 2 life. Very nice. We have 3 copies. So Vengeful Dreams, art by Mark Tedden. White instant, as an additional cost to pay... also from Torment. As an additional cost to play Vengeful Dreams, discard X cards from your hand. Remove X target attacking creatures from the game. Just nice and clean. 2 copies. That is our Settle the Wreckage from before we had Settle the Wreckage. Next up, Wrath of God. One of the best sweepers, or actually the original sweeper. Art by Kev Walker. This is the 8th edition printing, but this was originally printed in Alpha. 2 white sorcery. Destroy all creatures that cannot be regenerated. Just simple and clean. We have 4 copies. Now for the lands. Next up, Elfheim Palace from 8th edition. Art by Anthony S. Waters. Comes into play tapped. Taps for green or white. Nice and clean. This was before the shocks existed, so this is the closest thing we had to duels at the time. Flooded Strand. Good old fetches. Art by Rob Alexander. One of my favorite landscape artists in the game. And from Onslaught. But tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice Flooded Strand, search your library for a plains or island, put it into play, then shuffle your library. You may notice there are only 2 Flooded Strands here. This was before people really had caught on that 4 was the best number to play for fetches. Next up we have some basics. We have Forest. This is the 8th edition printing by John Avon. Another 8th edition printing by John Avon. And another 8th edition printing by John Avon. 2 copies of the last one. Next up we have some Islands. 8th edition printing by John Avon. 2 copies of the same one. 8th edition printing by Tony Sakudlo. Should have 3 copies, yep. And then the other 8th edition printing by John Avon. 2 copies. Next up, Crimson Verge from Judgment. Art by Tony Sakudlo. Crimson Verge comes into play tapped. Tap, add a colorless mana to your mana pool. And then 2, tap, sacrifice Crimson Verge, search your library for a forest and a plains card, put them into play tapped, then shuffle your library. When the shocks were introduced, this made this card way better. That was quite a bit later and was used for extended. We have 4 copies of Crimson Verge. Next up, we have Plains. This is the 8th edition printing by John Avon. You'll notice there's 2 people way back in the back there. Except we have the 8th edition printing by Matthew Mitchell. And then another 8th edition printing by John Avon. 2 copies of that. We have from Odyssey, Skycloud Expanse. Art by Rob Alexander. 1 tap, add white blue to your mana pool. Still sees play in quite a few Commander precons and is a mainstay in premodern. We have 4 copies. Very nice. Well, that was Daniel Zink's 2003 World Champion Wake deck. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the algorithm. And I've been trying out some different settings with the camera. If things look good on my side, but a couple of people have commented that it looks messed up. If it does look messed up for you, if you could please describe what's going on. I am trying to figure out what's going on and tweaking a bunch of settings, so I really appreciate the patience while I get that figured out and get things looking right. But until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.